So we are continuing to get more and more video or imagery from the damage across western North Carolina. This video shows flooding in Marshall. That's in Madison County, one of the farthest western parts of our state that we've been able to see. It's just gut-wrenching really to see how high those water levels got.
And we're starting to see more and more stories of people coming together. This video right here shows residents in Black Mountain helping to clear debris. All this is happening as more and more people are getting airlifted to safety. Now let's continue to go out to our crews who are across western North Carolina surveying this devastation and damage seen in nearly every town.
Yeah, we'll start with our own Tanya Rivera. She's in Buncombe County. Can't imagine what you've been able to see since you've been out there, Tanya.
So we are live here at the Asheville Regional Airport, and this is kind of where all the supplies come for those disaster counties in the western part of North Carolina. So 25 counties, right? And then you've got all of these like trucks trying to come in, but all these roads are closed, so they're having to do things by air. They're coming here to the airport and they're getting dispersed out. In fact, we just heard from the governor, who was able to survey by air to see what the damage looked like, and he called it extensive and devastating. He also said there is some good news, especially for folks who know that there are people that are here that want to get out. I-40 East going out from Asheville towards like Winston-Salem and Greensboro, that is open right now. And they did say that they believe that I-40 West coming into Asheville would be open tomorrow, maybe in the next few days, so that people could get more and more supplies in on that way. Now, of course, they don't want everybody and their brother hopping in the car and coming to western North Carolina, because this is still a disaster area. And we don't say that lightly. It is truly a disaster area. People are in line for food and for fuel and for water and for connectivity. Again, some people, I talked to one person today who said they walked 2 miles so that they could get cell service, so that they would be able to connect with the other people in their organization, be able to get goods here. So this is a very wide stretch of disaster. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to give you as much of a big picture as possible. So next on our team coverage is Amber Lake. She is live in Rutherford County.
Tanya, thank you. Came here to Rutherford town just because this is the only place that has power that we actually found. The library to my right has Wi-Fi, the town hall building has Wi-Fi, and that has been a big necessity for people here in western North Carolina who are just trying to reach out to family members to let them know that they are okay. Over in Lake Lure, there's a lot of devastation, so much so you have to have proof of residence to even get into town. The Lake Lure area is under a boil water advisory, and we saw crews at that water treatment plant in town today. Driving around Rutherford County, we saw so many downed trees, so many road closures. That seems to be the big issue before you get into Lake Lure, are those large trees on power lines and on homes. Roads washed away is another problem we saw. US 64 headed into Lake Lure has one lane closed off in one area because the floodwaters caused the road to wash away. On the way here, we passed a lot of power trucks that are headed to western North Carolina. We also have seen a lot of people collecting donations for the people who were impacted by this storm. One woman who we found who lives close to Lake Lure, she was standing outside in her front yard with a tent with a lot of supplies on the table. She said her and her family had 5 minutes to get out of their home when the waters were starting to rise to her home a couple of days ago. They were able to escape, go stay with family members in Charlotte, but it didn't take them long to stay there before they came back with a lot of supplies for their community. And despite the amount of agony and pain that her community has faced, she still remains positive, emotional, but positive. Hear why coming up at 5 o'clock. Live in Rutherford County, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
And hey guys, right now we are here at the Asheville Regional Airport, and my attention was focused over this way, and that's because a private plane has just landed just now filled with all kinds of supplies. So we know supplies are coming in from all different kinds of places. The big thing was, where are the state supplies? And so when I looked at Buncombe County Emergency Management, they did a briefing today around 10 o'clock this morning, and they said the first thing that they were going to talk to the governor about was, why want the water supplies here faster, quicker, and what can you do to get more of those supplies here? So we're working on getting more of that information from the governor's side as well about what the plan is to get more and more supplies to this part of our area. All right, so what we want to do now is we're going to kind of go up north in western North Carolina. And so Taylor Leverett is in Blowing Rock.
Yeah, we are live in Blowing Rock. As you can see, the scene right now is calm post Hurricane Helene, but I want you to take a look at the scene behind me here. This down power line just completely snapped into two, as well as these down trees here. That is the scene all over the mountain here in Blowing Rock. It's just down trees, down power lines. You know, we spoke to neighbors up here in the mountain. They said, you know, that one word they could describe it as is just utter chaos, you know, during Helene and then now post, seeing all of the devastation, all of the debris. I want you to take a look at that video on your screen there. You know, that is kind of what's left over. All of that debris from a neighbor's yard that we spoke to, Ken Lowry. He talked about how, you know, just seeing everything happen outside of his window was just a scene he'd never seen. He'd been here for 7 years. He's never seen anything that bad. He said parts of the road above his home actually fell down the hill. It rolled down the hill into his front yard. He describes what it was like sitting in his home as his house was completely pummeled by wind and rain.
We have winds here, Blowing Rock, so you have a lot of wind. So we're accustomed to wind, but this was wind not from one direction. It would be almost as a circular. The rain was incredible. I mean, you couldn't walk outside. I tried to step outside, and there were leaves and sticks and debris.
Now that video you see there is from Friday, the looking out of his door. As you can see, it looks like a waterfall. The video you see now is what it looks like today. Lowry says, you know, looking at tens of thousands of dollars in repair cost to his property. And he also said, thankfully, his home was saved, but that was not the case for some of his neighbors. And, you know, he talked about how living in the mountain, you know, you're used to a lot of different elements. You're used to rain, you're used to fog, you know, you're used to snow, but nothing of that sort. That was kind of how a lot of the neighbors described the area here post Hurricane Helene. You know, we're going to continue that conversation with neighbors. We spoke to a couple more. We'll continue that later on in the show. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
So, you know, a lot of people, everybody wants to help.
That's
and
right.
One of the things they've been telling us is unless you're a resident there, don't go there because you're just going to hinder things, slow things down. They need emergency responders coming in. The best way that you can help out is through monetary donations.
Yes, and we have that opportunity for you. And as you've heard, we've got a phone bank happening right here, right now at the American Red Cross for you to call and donate. Our Julie Luck is back with some of the volunteers at our station right now. Hey, Julie.
Hannah, hi. We are in the newsroom, and when we say that the Piedmont Triad is so loving and so generous, we know this. We know that our neighbors help neighbors, strangers help strangers, especially during difficult times like this. I am so happy to report in just the last 40 minutes since we started our phone bank, we've already raised more than $4,000. And take a look next to me. The phones are busy. These are our volunteers with the American Red Cross, and the calls keep coming in. I've seen dollar amounts, everything from $20 up to $100, $150, $200. I even saw one for $1,000. This just shows what our area is capable of, and it just shows how compassionate that you are. So this is what we would love to see. Thank you so much for keeping the phones busy. Let's keep the volunteers busy, because we know West North Carolina, they need help in the coming days, weeks, months, and maybe even beyond. So the number to call, 336-379-5600. Again, 379-5600. Our volunteers will be here until 6:30 tonight. Tim.